Welcome back, everyone. Today is Friday the 13th, and what a day to celebrate the publishing of Wifi Water's 50th episode. That's right, this is the 50th episode. And when I started this podcast, I knew I wanted to get to 100, and then at that point decide whether to shelve the project or continue forward. So we're halfway there, we're halfway done in the race, and I wanted to take some time to kind of refocus. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm Jarrett Carpenter, and this is Wifi Water. To celebrate Wifi Water's 50th episode, I knew I wanted to make a QuickPod. I've got a lot of good feedback on creating more short-form content, and to be honest, I totally get it. Even when people send me podcasts on topics or a subject I'm really into, if it's an hour and a half, the chances of me listening to it decrease exponentially. So this episode will be fairly quick and focus on two big ideas. Number one is that I want to refocus the podcast a little more. As I said in the intro, when I started the podcast, I knew I wanted to hit 100 episodes. So at 50 episodes, we're half the way there. And I've really spent the last 10 days or 2 weeks, whatever the time has been since the last episode was published, thinking about where I want to focus my energy moving forward with the podcast. And I've landed on the 3 C's, which are the climate crisis, cryptocurrency, and community. And so moving forward, all of the episodes are going to have to do with one of those themes, if not maybe 2 of them. And then the other thing I really want to mention today is I want to thank you so much for listening. I can't tell you the conversations I've had with people who I haven't talked to in even a decade, who I went to college with, who I grew up with, or maybe who I went to grad school with but then lost touch with. They've reached out and said, hey, I've listened to that episode. That was really great. And that was huge. So on those lines, I want to ask all the listeners to do me a favor and really help to continue to grow the Wifi Water podcast community. And I'll never know if you do this, so I want to thank you in advance for taking the time and being thoughtful. All you have to do is share the podcast's link with a friend, a family member, a coworker. Send them episode XYZ and say, hey, I think you should listen to this. This might add some value. Or check this out. I found this to be very interesting. Reach out also if you have an idea for an episode, if you want me to focus on a certain topic. I'm always interested to hear from the listeners and really understand what you want to hear, because a good restaurant shouldn't be putting stuff on the menu that people don't want to eat. And same thing goes with the podcast. I don't want to create content that people aren't really down to hear. So that's where we are. We made it to 50, and I'm excited about the next 50. So hopefully you're down for the journey. Let's go. Thanks again for listening to this episode, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Wifi Water Podcast. And no matter where you're listening to this, whatever podcast platform, please subscribe and leave a review. Thanks again, and we'll see everyone next time.